Hello everybody, my name is Ungar and welcome to my submission to the Slug Disco Map Contest. Now today I'm just going to be showcasing the map to you guys, explaining how it works and my thought process behind why I think this would be a good map for the custom game mode. Now first we're going to start over here, and I'm going to just explain this sort of guide over here as to what things are. This first half over here is relating to the surface maps down here, and this half relates to the underground. Now, this is the nest entrances right here, as you can see, and then the green ramps are 2 wide, and the orange ones are 1 wide. Darker means higher up, lighter means lower down, and these little dots will be seeds. The little stick-like things will be caterpillar plants. The little pine cone-shaped things are pine cones, and the X's are relocatable aphid plants. The orange thing is a huge creature, and this line sort of represents where I thought it would be wandering around. This is for the leaf cutters. These are like the small plants, the medium tall plants, and this is like the big thick plants that are like a different color. And then I just had like this map, which is a ton of locations where I thought landmarks could be cool to spawn. I'll get to the underground stuff later, but let's first start off with the surface. If you guys would like to just look at any of this stuff here, you can just come back to this. I'll timestamp this part in the description so that you can come back if you forget what any of this means. But starting on the height map, you can see down here there's this big open area, along with some lower areas in this corner, and over here are some higher areas. Now, I thought it'd be cool to sort of have different nest locations that are like sort of similar to each other. You can see these have the same shape, but this one is a lot taller and this one sort of goes indented into the ground. Felt like that would make it interesting and also pretty balanced, but at the same time unique in each map location. Nest location. You can see in this one we have this raised area here, which is where the aphids will go, because in most of the maps, the aphids don't really have a good area, and they're pretty easily stolen, so I feel like giving them a more strategic area would make the map a little more fun and interesting. Along with that, you can see that off of this main area, you can go down here to the middle, or down here to this side part, which links you to the lower nest, which is pretty similar. The aphids will be down in this area, along with over here is just some food, and over here is some food. In this middle area, it's just like a mid-ground for these two to fight in before going to each other's territory. And then same thing on the other side, except it's swapped. And just to add a little bit of variety, the aphids are over here on this one, and this one is over here, just to make each nest slightly more significant and unique from the other ones. And then in the middle, since this has so much raised and lower platforms, the middle is just a big flat open area that a whip spider will walk around, or maybe if you want, could be cool to have like army ant trails like in 3.2, as I forgot to state, but this is a forest themed map, so you could have like army ant trails running back and forth. I feel like that could be cool, but if not, then I'd say probably like a whip spider, just to make it so that you can't go across and attack the enemy nest as soon, because that's another thing that happens in free play is early attacks. So I feel like more strategical nest locations and a big creature guarding the in-betweens of nests will make battles a lot more interesting and fun, and not just a colony that gets an early head start, goes and destroys one that doesn't, and the game ends in 2.5 minutes. But that's pretty much it for the height map. Along with that, I forgot to mention on here, sorry about that, but these are spawners, these things down here, with the 3 little dots that symbolize the little particle effects that come out of it. They're placed all over the map. Slug Disco said that around 16 should be used, so I used 16 spawners. There's just about 3 on every nest area, and then like 1 and 2 in this middle area. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So yeah, 16 spawners. And then coming over here is a lot of stuff to process, but this is the sort of preset landmark area. I know Slug Disco said that you didn't need to put much detail in, but I have nothing else to do, so I thought it'd be a fun little project to make a fully detailed map just to make it easier for them and give me something to do. But you can see here, each area is a little complex, so I'll run through them slowly. Each colony has their aphid area planted on a lower or upper area from their nest, and then they also have a little food spot, which for colonies that like eat meat and stuff. There's the caterpillars and the seeds, and then leafcutters. There's a few little plants down here. There's also like some more plants and seeds around the starting area, along with a second caterpillar plant, which is more near the middle entrance. Down here you have some pine cones. Along with that, there's another caterpillar plant, and over here on this little area on the side of the middle, there's another caterpillar plant. I also put some spots where aphids could be fun to be placed. If aphids were to be put in preset landmarks, I don't really care if they're put in there or not. If not, there's just their locations here, and then of course they randomly spawn. But if you were to want to put them in like in the dunes map where there is aphids in the preset area, I thought it'd be cool to yet again have them in the middle with the big whip spider, because aphids are pretty good resources, so I want to make sure that no one can just go in and swipe all of them very easily, so there's this huge creature defending them that you'll need to show a large force to beat. And it's pretty much the same on each side. I made sure that each side has enough seeds and things. They're all even. If you guys want, you can of course pause the video and look at it. That's pretty much it. There's also this area here with more caterpillars and pine cones. I did go very heavy on the caterpillars because I feel like in most maps, if you set the preset things, once you eat all the like seeds and pine cones and stuff, there's really not enough food to even sustain you, yet alone continue to build out your army. So I feel like just adding a few more of them, I mean, you probably don't need to have this many. There's like 13 on the map, but I'd definitely say I'd like to see some more renewable food sources so that battles don't just end the second there's no more pine cones and seeds across the map. But that is this area. It's pretty complex, but if you just pause the video and go back to the thing and then come back to this, you should be able to piece together the thing. Of course, if you have any questions, comment them down below and I'll respond to them and try and help out as best as I can to fill in any details that I forgot, and I'll also put some of that stuff in the description for you guys. Over here, I'll just gloss through this one very quickly. This is just some like potential landmark locations, so you have, of course, where your aphids will be, and then where I thought some cool spots would be for landmarks to spawn, like maybe one behind here, a few in there, a bunch in the middle, all sorts of cool stuff. This one is really not that important though. I don't know why I made it, but it exists. And now I will go to the underground area. So of course the Q is queen spot and the E is the nest exit. I was originally going to make all 4 different sides because I know that there's 4 different things, and Slug Disco has one of these entrances on each side for all of them. But for balance sake, they would be pretty similar anyway, so I didn't feel like it was really worth it. I mean, of course, like, you just turn it sideways, maybe put this on this side instead of on this side. Just some small changes, but I didn't feel it was worth it to make 4 different undergrounds because they're pretty much going to be the same anyway, or else it'd be very unbalanced. But anyway, continuing on here. Here is this like little sort of like explosion looking effect with numbers in them. Are different caverns, and the numbers correspond to over here with how much food is in them. So number 1 is just like 100 food, could be seeds, could be dead creatures, I don't know, and then some woodworms. Of course, Slug Disco probably won't use all the stuff that I put in here, but I'd just like to give them as much help as I can because I'm very bored, and I feel like doing this because it's fun. Anyway, chambers 2 and 3 are pretty much the same. They've got 100 food, and they just have a blue or green rove beetle larva. Number 4 has a little more food with 200 food, but is also quite a stronger enemy with the small whip spider. Group 5 doesn't have much more food, but it has 2 more small whip spiders. and 250 food. So 6-1 and 6-2 are exactly the same. They are 50 food and 1 large velvet worm. I feel like in most of the free play maps, some of the things underground, you can't really tell if they're dangerous or not. And I always open up huge creatures with like my nest workers as my only ants. So I feel like having these guys separate this more dangerous section will make the map a little more clear and easy to understand. So they're sort of the guardians to the very dangerous section. Group 7 has a lot of food with 300, but 2 green rove beetle adults. Those, I think, are the ones with a very powerful spray, so definitely worth the 300 food. They're quite strong. And then Group 8 has 250 food, so a little less, but 5 small velvet worms. Now, the small velvet worms really aren't that dangerous, so you might be asking why I'm putting them in here. The little spray attack that they have is pretty darn powerful. So if there's 5 of them spraying at you, that can do a lot of damage. So I feel like they're pretty strong in large numbers. So I put a good group of them in there with some more food. Group 9 is pretty much Group 7, a little less food, and 2 blue rove beetles, because I feel like the blue ones aren't as powerful, but they're still pretty powerful, so they're pretty similar. Group 9... Oh, wait a minute. Did I call this one 8? I don't know. Group 9, yeah, that was Group 9. Group 10 over here is 300 food plus 2 large velvet worms. So it's pretty much double the strength of the 6 groups with a lot more food. And then over here, this is a chamber of 7 that the AI will build, and same thing with the 19 and the 32. And lines are just paths. So I sort of built out what I thought a cool nest would look like for the AI. Sort of has it like group around this main rock here, and you can see that there's a 32 near the entrance, 37, sorry, a 37 down here. You'd probably put the food store up here, but if Slug Disco was feeling very devious today, they could put the food stores down here and curse the colonies to walk all the way across their nest. But I doubt they'd do that, and I hope they wouldn't, because that would make the AI really, really slow at processing food. They've also got a 19 close to their queen. That could probably be a worker or maybe like a very strong soldier as like a last stand guard. They also got 2 19s going up to the entrance and 1 more right here. This would probably be the leaf cutter food store as they store theirs in a 19. And then you've got the 7s down here and just some more 19s scattered around. And that is pretty much most of the map. Now that I've covered everything, I'd like to just go over it again and just sort of explain stuff and why I thought it'd be a good idea to put things in, and just some more stuff that could be added, but I didn't add here because I wanted something else, or, you know, things like that. So, beginning here, something that might be interesting is, like I said, I think I said this, army ant trails instead of a whip spider could be cool at day, and maybe have the whip spider come out at night, or something like that. And then, along with that, like I said, for the maps going like sideways and things, I feel like you could probably just swap these around. And the reason I put this here around the queen is because, especially in like Basin and things, which is one of my favorite maps, the queen's just so close to the entrance that the AI doesn't really keep a lot of units down there. So you can just rush their queen and sort of assassinate her while all her units are gone. And I feel like to reduce the chances of that happening and actually forcing the player to have a real fight with the AI, making a sort of like protective barrier around the queen with more different trails going down, then I feel like having 2 trails could make it more interesting. I feel like I really do like the way the nests are made, and I feel like they're pretty nice. Another thing that I very much wanted to mention, Slug Disco, you have a habit of making things that are so close to being able to be a 7 or a 19, but then you have 1 or 2 indestructible tiles, and that really, really makes me angry. So I hope you're listening very closely. Make every single one of these possible to be turned into a 7 or 19 or 37 or something, because it's so annoying when you get like a 18 and then there's just 1 little tile poking out that stops you. It's very annoying, Slug Disco. Please, please change that on other maps as well. I'm begging you. I'm literally begging you. I hate that feature. That's the worst part of Empires of the Undergrowth. So when you dig out a cavern and you can't turn it into a 9, 7, 32, whatever. Another thing that I wanted to say is, this is sort of just a funny thing. I totally forgot to add this in, and while I was doing the height map, I realized that originally you would just go down here, and that was 2 layers instead of 1, so I added that in. I also added it here, just in case you guys were wondering why these look slightly different, even though the rest of the maps are clearly exact printed copies. But, yeah, I think I've covered most of the stuff. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, post them in the comments. I'll make sure that everything is in the description if you guys need any help with anything. Yeah, I think I've covered the entirety of my map entry, so I hope it wins. Spent a lot of time on this. If not, I don't really care much. It was really fun making this, and I'll probably use it in my game. This is going to be Empires inspired, but I'll obviously change some things up as it's not Empires of the Undergrowth. But I hope you did enjoy. If you did, please remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!